Comments of anything that's not on the agenda tonight? Seeing none, I welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. We have the consideration of the approval of the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Next is consideration approval of the minutes of the January 9th, 7th, and 10th meetings.
So move. Second.
Any questions on the minutes? Clerk will call the roll.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Next is consideration of approval of the consent calendar. Any questions on the consent calendar?
Move to approve.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
The consent calendar is approved. Next is the business of the mayor. A couple things tonight. We have a couple reappointments to the Housing and Redevelopment Association Board. Jeremy Heyer and Linda Klemsrud are just finishing a 2-year term and both have agreed to have another term, so I would like to reappoint them to the Housing Board. These guys have to approve that, or I just do that?
I think they have to make a motion to approve
I would
that.
so move, Your Honor. Second.
Any questions on those appointments?
Nope, just thank them for their willingness to serve.
Very much so. Clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Okay, we'll have that, those appointments. Next is a proclamation for Catholic Schools Week. Katie, you want to stand up and introduce yourself and give us a little bit of background of what you would like tonight?
Hi, I'm Katie Jarvel, and I teach kindergarten at Immaculate Conception. We are coming up on Catholic Schools Week, the last week in January, first week in February, and I'm here to ask for a proclamation declaring that week Catholic Schools Week.
Any questions anybody has for Katie?
Is there anything special going on during the week?
Lots and
Okay.
lots of stuff special going on, yes. The big thing this year we're having a Renee Day on that Wednesday in memory of Renee Haina. We have a student, her son goes to IC, and so we're doing all sorts of activities and services around things that she loved.
I would so move, Your Honor. Second. Oh, I've already done that. Or have I? No.
What's that?
Yep, we're good.
Any further questions, discussion?
Thanks, Katie.
Clerk will call the roll.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Proclamation is approved. Katie, I'll come down and we'll present you with the proclamation.
Oh, come on, don't be so shy.
All right. Whereas Immaculate Conception Catholic School was founded in 1897 by the Sisters of Mercy, and whereas the main school building, where am I at?
Yeah,
Oh,
move
the
away from the
speaker,
speaker.
okay. But we got to move this way, Katie, I guess.
No camera there. I thought about it.
Let's start over. Whereas Immaculate Conception Catholic School was founded in 1897 by the Sisters of Mercy, and whereas the main school building at 1203 Clark Street, Charles City, Iowa, was erected in 1948 and then added to in 2001, and whereas Immaculate Conception Catholic School's mission statement is to establish the foundation for each student and enhance their development spiritually, morally, academically, emotionally, physically, and socially by providing the necessary tools and technology to address each individual's needs through the education of staff, families, friends, and the Catholic community. And whereas character, compassion, and values are virtues that all students at Immaculate Conception Catholic School strive for daily. And whereas Immaculate Conception Catholic Schools celebrates and honors their Catholic heritage and accomplishments, now therefore I, Dean Andrews, Mayor of Charles City, Iowa, do hereby proclaim January 27th through February 2nd, 2019 as Catholic Schools Week in Charles City, Iowa, and urge all citizens to pay tribute to honoring this outstanding school. So we appreciate what your school does for our community. It's a valuable part of our community, and you guys are doing a great job, and I'll be at your assembly on the February 1st, and I will again read the proclamation at school. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
While you're on your way back, Mayor Andrews, just to show you how good school that is, my 2 older brothers and I graduated from that school. My 2 children graduated from that school, and my 2 grandchildren graduated from that school. So
I wouldn't blame the school for that.
I guess it speaks
Yeah.
for itself.
Hallelujah. All right, well, there's a testimonial for you, Katie.
Write that one down.
Yeah, take it how you want.
Sure. A lot of salt.
All right, well, let's move right along then to public hearing on the 2019 sanitary sewer lining project. We'll open the hearing, and we have a filing of affidavit of publication.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any written comments or objections?
None, Your Honor.
Any oral comments or objections tonight?
Move to close.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Hearing is closed, so we'll next have consideration of Resolution 319, approving the final plans. Discussion for this.
Yeah, this was before the council at the December 17th council meeting when the council approved the preliminary plans and also set the hearing and letting dates for the project. Now, the 2019 sanitary sewer lining project, this is our annual project that we do each year where we line sewers through the town. And what it basically is putting a new pipe within an existing pipe without having to dig up the street. And to what we're looking at is to limit I&I inflow and infiltration into the system. Now, this year's project, it's about 8,400 lineal feet, and it's all located in the north part of town. It's on North Ohio, North Missouri, North Grand Avenue, 14th Avenue, and 13th Avenue streets. After we complete this year's project, we'll basically be completed with the lining the sanitary sewer system north of the railroad tracks. Now, since the preliminary plans during the bidding process, we didn't have any addendums, so the final plans essentially, they do match the previously approved preliminary plans, so I would recommend Resolution 3-19 approving the final plans and specifications.
Any questions for John on approving the plans?
So moved.
Completion of this fall?
This year, yes.
Okay.
I'd second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Next, we'll consider Resolution 419, which is awarding the contract. Discussion on that, John?
Yeah, last Thursday we had the bid opening and we received 5 bids. Now, the engineer's estimate for the project was $189,000. The low bid, VisuSewer, they came in with a low bid of $183,520. The other 4 bids are listed there. They range from $200,000 up to $227,000. Now, we have worked with VisuSewer before, and everything went well. So they're a good company, and they specialize in lining. So I would recommend approval of Resolution 4-19, awarding the bid to VisuSewer, as well as approving the contract and bond.
So move.
Second.
Any further discussion or questions on the bond awarding? Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
We'll get that ready to get started this spring. Next is consider Resolution 519, which is approving renewal of a 28E with the Department of Inspections and Appeals for investigation services. Heidi, is this your area?
I am Heidi Nielsen, the Director of the Housing Office, and occasionally we need assistance doing some of our fraud investigations, and we retain the services of the Department of Inspections and Appeals to help us with those investigations. And in order to continue being able to utilize those services, they're going to require the city to renew the 28E agreement with them. Everything is staying the same. The terms of the agreement have not changed from last year, and we've been doing this for about 10 years now.
This kind of helps with like any fraud investigations and different things like that.
Yeah, they have more abilities than we do to subpoena records, and then there's sometimes where we just, just need that extra little bit.
This has been a positive partnership for you?
Yes.
And then you just pay them on an hourly basis then for their work.
Yep.
Right,
Oh,
so moved.
So, second.
Any further questions for Heidi?
And we talked about this at the workshop, that, you know, this is kind of about the best option to do this type of work
Yeah.
for our situation.
Typically, anywhere from 1 to 5 times a year. So, I mean, we don't utilize their services a lot. I mean, fortunately, we have our partnership with the police department, so we are able to have them help us with most of our investigations.
Good.
Clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Thanks, Eddie.
Very good. The next item then is also concerning Heidi, is approving contract for fee accountant for public housing. Discussion on that one.
Okay, we utilize an accounting firm that specializes in the HUD required accounting and a lot of the HUD reports. And our current company that we have contracted with has decided that they no longer want to contract with us for a number of different reasons. But anyway, we had sent out requests for proposals for 6 different firms, and we had received proposals back from 2 firms, one from a housing authority accounting specialists and one from Laux and Schwartz. The board met last Thursday and reviewed both of the proposals, and for the most part, both the companies were equal as far as experience and the costs. So we looked at the different references, and they decided that the Housing Authority accounting specialists kind of maybe would be a little bit more in our favor as far as, based on their references. So they're recommending that we enter into a contract with them for 2 years with an option of 2-year increments of 1 year after that.
Any questions on this one? Do I see that is there a monthly fee plus an hourly fee both, or?
There's a monthly fee for just for doing the financial statements, and the hourly fee is for things that I only do on an annual basis, like prepare a lot of the HUD submissions.
Would so move, Your Honor.
Second.
Any further questions?
We're voting on which one of these 2 we want?
Oh, yes.
Oh, she's recommending the one.
The HA accounting.
H and H? Okay.
Any other questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Malero.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion approved. Thank you. Next is Resolution 9, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
Resolution 719, approving preliminary plans and setting public hearing for Southwest Development Park Drainage Project.
Yeah, this project we've discussed before. This project is well, due to the water coming through the Southwest Development Park, and to better manage that, we need to improve the existing channels, the waterways, as well as create some additional detention areas to hold the water and to release it more slowly. This water continues through the development park underneath 11th Street, continuing north under Highway 14 and through the Wildwood Golf Course. There's a map there in the, you scroll down through the PDF file. The project includes some channel work on the north side of 11th Street. They'll have a new culvert underneath 11th, and then through the development park there, the channels will be improved, as well as some existing detention basins will be enlarged and some additional ones placed so that the stormwater will be held and released more slowly. We have discussed this with the Southwest Development, the TIF board, and with Tim Fox. The resolution sets the letting date for February 14th, and the public hearing on the project will be at the council meeting on the 18th of February. So I'd recommend approval of Resolution 7-19, setting those dates, as well as approving the preliminary plans.
So move.
Second.
Further questions for John?
This project isn't all going to be done at one time, correct? For right now, the city, through Southwest Development and stuff, is only going to do a portion of this project?
We're going to bid it out as a complete project.
Okay.
And see how much, because we have $180,000 worth of funding to go towards it now.
Okay.
And so I think it depends on, how those bids come in, and based on having a hard number bid, if that gives any additional leverage to get some additional funding from any of the adjacent property owners. If not, then we need to decide how much we're going to be able to do and what parts are most important. So it's kind of a work in progress. I mean, we're going to bid it out all as one.
Okay.
And maybe we get, because our costs are going to be, we feel, quite a bit under the $396,000 that was originally estimated because of soil hauling and things of that nature. So,
yeah, that original estimate was based on hauling all the dirt off-site. We've been working with Area Development Corp, and there's an area there between Rove Avenue and 215th Street, there west of Corporate Drive, where it's low, and what we're going to do is use the excess excavation, put it in that area, build it up to create a better buildable lot. But see, that way everything will stay on site, and it should will provide cheaper unit prices.
Okay.
that was one of the biggest variables.
Yeah.
Was that moving the dirt, so.
Yeah. But for right now, the Southwest Development Board has approved some money to go towards this, and the city has some money already earmarked to go through this, or go towards this as far as doing the 11th Street work and the culvert and stuff there. So I was going to say, it's not a done deal by any means as far as funding or whatever. So, okay.
Any other discussion or questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager. Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Resolution 719 is approved, and we'll move on to Resolution 819, which is setting public hearing on vacation of right-of-way and conveyance of the same.
Yeah, this has to do with the 500 North Grand building, the old middle school, and in anticipation of selling that, the school district had a title opinion prepared, and it became apparent that in the 30s, when the school was originally built, the city had to vacate some alleyways as well as part of 6th Avenue. for the building to be built. And that was actually vacated in 1931 under Ordinance 109. However, it was vacated, but the property was never conveyed to the school, and there were some errors in that ordinance as well. And actually, not all the property that should have been vacated was vacated. So, Brad has been working with the school's attorney, and instead of the thought was, well, we'll just start afresh, re-vacate everything. The school did retain a surveyor to basically prepare a good boundary survey with a good legal description so we could go through this. So what we're, the Planning and Zoning Commission, they've met, and they are recommending that the council approve the vacation. And what's being vacated is 6th Avenue between North Grand Avenue and B Street, the alley between 5th Avenue and 6th Avenue, here between B Street, what was B Street, and North Grand, as well as the alley, a portion of the alley north of 6th Avenue. I don't know, is there anything you want to add, Brad?
There is a new resolution Brad sent over today. There was an error in the, was it the legal, Brad?
Yeah, I had the surveyor just double check the legal descriptions, and he caught Scrivener's error in the legal description he prepared for the boundary survey. So that's the only update to the resolution that was included in the packet. At next council meeting, we'll hold the public hearing, and then there'll be three readings of the ordinance vacating those right-of-ways, and following vacation, a conveyance to the school.
So Brad, this says you didn't properly vacate this in 1931?
Right.
Okay.
Would so move, Your Honor.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next, consideration of Resolution 919, accepting the 2018 Main Street Sidewalk Replacement Project. John?
Yes. Well, Knowles Custom Concrete, they were the contractor for the Main Street Sidewalk Replacement Project. This is the sidewalk basically around the McQuillan Place building. They're along North Main and Clark Street. So as you know, a new sidewalk was put in, and it was put in to match the existing streetscape. So we have the brick pavers, so it looks like it did previously. Now, Knowles Custom Concrete, their original bid was $49,878, and the total project came in less than that. The total cost was $45,927.49. So I'd recommend approval of Resolution 9-19, accepting the project.
So move.
Second.
Have you been down there and checked it all out, John? Everything looks good and the way it's supposed to be? Okay.
Any other questions, discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
All right, next is Resolution 1019, levying a special assessment against the private property for this replacement of the sidewalk by the city of Charles City.
Yeah, the McQuillan Place sidewalk project, the Main Street sidewalk replacement. Now, before the project was let, there was an agreement that was prepared and agreed to by McQuillan Place LLC and the City Council to assess those costs to that property. In addition to the cost that Knowles Custom Concrete had, the $45,927, there were a couple of other costs some concrete bases for lights. That was $764. And we had some construction staking to, with Fairgram. Fairgram, they did the staking on the building, and to tie the two together, we had them come in to make sure the sidewalk was meeting the finished floor correctly. So the total cost to be assessed is $47,058.24. So we'd recommend approval of Resolution 1019 levying these costs.
This assessment would be paid upon collection of taxes? That's how it gets paid?
Yeah,
If
well,
and when they're
they
taken
have-
care of?
Yeah, I mean, they have a time period that they can pay all that, or it gets assessed on the taxes.
Yeah. But excuse me, this assessment passes with the property. If it changes hands wherever it goes,
So, yeah,
Comes back.
after 30 days, if that amount's not paid, Trudy would certify that to the county treasurer to be assessed with property taxes, and that would carry over with change of title.
all right, otherwise it comes out of the city clerk's salary.
Hey, hey.
All right.
I would so move, Your Honor.
Second.
Any further discussion on this one?
I just want to thank John and Steve and Brad for working on this thing. I think it's really sad that we had to get to this point to get that done, but I'm very thankful that we have it done. That's really getting to be an eyesore down there. At least this makes it look a little bit better.
Any other comments or discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next is Resolution 1119, which is amending the solid waste contract with Gendro Sanitation. Discussion here.
Yeah, so at our workshop last week, Alan Powell from General Sanitation was here, and he presented us with a request for an increase in garbage rates. And he spoke at length about the various challenges and costs associated with the rising costs of recycling, and how it has gone from where you receive a small amount of money to recycle it to now where you're paying to get rid of it. This has been something that was that he's been dealing with for the last several months. I mean, we put the new garbage program in place in April last year, and over those last several months, the recycling issue has become more and more of a concern. And so he has requested a rate increase to help offset those additional operating costs. We talked about various ways to address the additional costs, and those included, maybe specifying specific weeks of pickup, where there would be a week where it could be a fibrous pickup, next week could be aluminum, week after that newspapers, kind of separating it out week by week. Alan and I felt, and meeting with the council seemed to be a consensus that would be asking a lot of the residential property owners to sort recycling out on various weeks. So, the approach we've got.
Next is consideration of the second reading of Ordinance 1124, the rezoning of 101 and 111 South Jackson Street. Discussion here.
Well, this rezoning request is coming to us from the county. It's for the construction to facilitate the construction of the new law enforcement center. There's two parcels. They're on the west side of Court Street, or I'm sorry, on South Jackson, that are zoned R3. And the courthouse, as well as the old car wash, that's zoned B3. And so those two parcels that are zoned R3 need to be rezoned to B3. Now, two weeks ago at the council meeting, council held the public hearing on this rezoning request and approved the first reading of the ordinance. So I would recommend approval of the second reading.
I'd so move.
Second.
Has there been any correspondence after the first reading at all?
I have not received anything.
Does it make it any easier when the houses are already gone?
I say, it's kind of a done deal.
Clerk will call the roll.
Star.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Next, we'll consider,
Second reading.
Got to read it.
oh, we got to read it, yeah.
Like story time.
Story time.
Ordinance number 1124, an ordinance amending the zoning classification of parcels located in Kelly and Company's addition to St. Charles, now incorporated in and as a part of Charles City, from R-3 Multifamily Residence District to B-3 Service Business District.
Thank you. Next, we'll consider the second reading of ordinance 1125, the vacation of a section of South Jackson Street. Similar
Yeah, this
project.
ordinance is also because of the new law enforcement center. The new law enforcement center will extend from the courthouse west into those properties that we just talked about, the rezoning. And so we'll go across the Jackson Street right-of-way.
Yeah, so with a new wastewater treatment plant often comes added cost in building it, and we've taken the time to review our rates to see what we're going to need to do from a rate standpoint to make the project cash flow. And so, working off the estimate that we've got about a $20.5 million plant, and that we've got about $19 million that we're going to have to borrow. We're hoping those estimates are high. We've worked on coming up with a plan for changing the rates to accommodate those loans and costs associated with the plan. So we've spent some time with Ron Fiskus and Planscape Partners, along with Paul Donna from Baird, reviewing our application and what we're looking at as far as needs. One of the things I guess I want to point out is we're addressing several things with the construction of this wastewater treatment plant project. It's no longer going to be called a wastewater treatment plant. It's going to be called a water reclamation recovery facility, or something to that effect. Water resource recovery facility. It just doesn't flow like wastewater treatment plant.
Shall have a sewer plant.
Pun intended, I guess.
But it'll flow better.
Oh, man.
It'll flow better, yes.
A little faster.
It's harder to say, but works better. That's case in point. So, we're looking at various things. We have a plant that's 52 years old. We realize that it's limited on what it can process. Obviously, if you go out there and take a look at it, you'd never know it's that old of a structure. So it's highly maintained. But we were about 6 years ago. Charles City, along with 102 other communities, were named as wastewater treatment plants that had to meet the new nutrient reduction standards. And so all communities across the state of Iowa that fall within a certain flow parameter, which I believe is 1 million gallons, have to meet these new nutrient reduction standards. And nothing with our plant can meet those standards. We're seeing growth in usership from companies like Simply Essentials. We have the desire to add additional housing, and we're building an equalization basin which will take care of high water times so the plant doesn't get inundated. And we're looking at curbing our hauling costs by doing the reed beds, so we don't have to haul sludge all the time. So there's a lot of things involved in this project that this is going to address. And when you look to these type of projects, we're fortunate in the city in that our state has a revolving loan fund. So, when we apply to borrow these funds, we're doing so at a very reduced rate. We're looking at borrowing for 30 years at a 2.75 interest rate. We were fortunate enough to be able to get the designation as a disadvantaged community. And while that doesn't necessarily sound that good, that works out pretty well when it comes to the SRF loan, because we're able to lower that interest rate from 2.75 to 1.75 over 30 years. And I did the math, and I think that equates to $3.5 million that we'll save over the course of the loan. So that's a nice saving. What I've enclosed for your review is a cash flow analysis that kind of shows, in the yellow, it shows us projected year 2020, the new operating costs moving forward once the plant's online, where we end up as far as a cash flow goes. It's projected potentially that we might have a couple years where we're spending a little bit more than our revenues take in. Those are very small amounts, and in reality, we'll probably not have that. Probably won't be an issue. Based on that, we're looking at doing increases that would equate to about 20%, both in the base rate and the variable rate. And we're considering if we do initial approval tonight on the first reading, have the second and third readings in February, we will have it in place for March usage, and it'll show up on the April billing would be the first time you'd see it. So what I also did is I broke down what that 20% increase means to the user, to really kind of put it in context so you can really see what that difference is. And since everybody's water uses are different and sewer rates are based on water usage, I gave some scenarios of either 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, or 8,000 gallon user. So picking out a 6,000 gallon user, which is a pretty high user. A family of 5, between 5 and 6,000, I know that's where we would end up. And so the new rate for somebody who uses 6,000 gallons a month is $46.37, compared to the old rate, which is $38.62. So that's a monthly difference of $7.75. So, and then if you look at, say, a lower user, 2,000 gallons a month, that's an increase of $3.86 a month. Nobody likes increases, and that's certainly true. But I'd like to think that these increases are important to the project. It's what's going to make this work, and they're palatable. Something that I really wanted to note and point out was about 12 years ago that the city had the fortitude to put in an annual increase in water and sewer rates. And so since 2008, those rates have been changing 3.5% each year. And so I did a comparison just to see, what would our rate change need to be now if we hadn't done those changes. And that's what you see there at the very bottom. The monthly difference from 2008 basically shows that it'd be a 69% increase. And if you look into that further, that's probably not even completely accurate, because we have been able to put money aside and save it over the years. We've been able to put 1.6, close to $2 million are going to go towards this project from cash that we have from the operating. So that's close to $2 million that we don't have to borrow. So kudos to the city and the council at that time for doing that, because it's really saving us now. And a 20% increase, it's a good healthy increase, but it's nothing like it could have been. And I've never been in a community that's seen a large increase, but I've certainly seen them where they haven't planned for it, and it gets pretty bad. So all that said, I recommend approval of the first reading of the ordinance that increases the sewer rates, as we've discussed.
Steve, you talked about residential rates going up. Will commercial rates go up as well? Because you talked about at least some of the plants causing the real need for this, or the benefit for this, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, commercial rates will go up the same. We do have 2 users that are high-end users that are above our commercial rates, and they have their own negotiated rate, and we're addressing that rate structure as well. Historically, that's just been based on pure flow going through the plant, and that's not necessarily the best way to allocate the expense that comes with that, because the flow could be lower, but the loading or what they're putting in this wastewater makes up for any type of volume of flow. So So that's something that we're putting into place for our two contract users. That'll address a price per pound for BODs, suspended solids, TKN, which is total congealed nitrogen or something, basically the nutrient part of it, and one other thing. But so those are all going to be getting addressed as well. Something that isn't addressed in this particular ordinance change is something that also we need to look about and think about is our out-of-town sewer rates. You know, that's something we really haven't addressed in a number of years. And typically you see a premium charge for that if it's outside of city limits. And if anything, it might be a discount now because we haven't kept those rates up as we have with the others. So that's something we're going to look at here in the next couple months as that moves forward. So that's gets more of a appropriate review as well. So
For the out-of-town rates, would that be like Maple Heights or?
Maple Heights would be the main one. You know,
Okay.
we have an agreement where, you know, they pay a certain amount, and I don't know when the last time that's been reviewed. It's been several years. So that's something we need to look at too, and make sure that everybody's, you know, paying the fair share.
Okay.
Steve, did I understand you say that if we don't do this fairly soon, we won't be able to grow anymore with either housing or commercial?
That's expand the plant, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, that is a concern, you know, is that, you know, we want to be able to add additional users, and, you know, and we're looking at a certified site, industrial park, and to be able to handle those capacities, we need to have that on the sewer side. We addressed it several years ago on the water side. We have plenty of water capacity, but on the sewer processing side, that's where we're a little short right now, so.
So
that's-
it'd be the type of industry we might be encouraging to come in. It depends on their usage if we don't do something here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, if there was another, you know, processing plant, I think that would, you know, even our new plant, you know, as far as volume wise, that would be hard to meet those. It all depends on what they are, you know, so it's hard to speculate. But, you know, with the new plant that we have put together, you know, we were able to, you know, in addition to what we currently have for flow needs and, I guess, processing needs, we're able to expand that about maybe 10 to 15%. The SRF, the state really kind of limits you on, you can't build 50% larger than what you need.
Right.
It needs to be something reasonable. So, you know, we have room, we'll have room for capacity. And residential capacity is completely different than industrial loading capacity. And, you know, we'll be able to handle a lot of residential loading capacity, that's for sure.
Further questions?
I would so move, Your Honor.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hammond.
Aye.
Malero.
Aye.
Starr.
Aye.
Yeager.
Aye.
We'll have the first reading of ordinance 1126.
Ordinance number 1126, an ordinance amending section 99.06, user charges of the Charles City Code of Ordinances for the purpose of increasing the minimum monthly charges and user charge rate for the City of Charles City's wastewater treatment works.
Thank you. All right, next we're just going to any miscellaneous correspondence this week?
None, Your Honor.
Nothing, huh? Brad, any reports on the attorney's side?
We will be picking up the updated abstract for the second property we're purchasing out at Shaw Avenue, so assuming no title issues or anything unusual, we'll be able to close that in plenty of time, early February. So the second property out there, we're still awaiting an appraisal, so no updates on that one right now.
Okay, thank you. City clerk report?
We have a budget meeting on Thursday at 5:30. Those packets will be delivered tomorrow, so be watching your houses for those.
Per person in snowshoes.
Yeah, probably, yeah, we'll probably have snow dogs or the
Hold
sledding
your
dogs.
feet to
yeah.
the fire,
Yeah. We will have a planning session then on Monday, the 28th at 6 o'clock.
And that will be at the regular 6 o'clock time.
Be at the regular 6 o'clock time. Mhm.
When did you say that was?
The planning session is the 28th.
And you're just gonna scan mine in? Trudy?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Save them one
Welcome.
trip.
You're welcome.
City Administrator report.
Yeah, just real briefly, a couple of grants coming due. Our water quality initiative grant, meeting with the folks from IDALS tomorrow, no, Wednesday, to talk about that application. That's the project where we can hopefully get some funding for some stormwater projects, both at Wildwood and up on Hillside Drive. We're working with our partners from last year on the Iowa Partners in Conservation Program grant. That's a grant that would bring on a staff person to oversee those various water quality projects for about a 5-year period. And lastly, hotel motel tax. We're going to be applying for that for 401 North Main for our work that we're going to be doing there with the upgrade on the windows and doors. But specifically, we're going to be applying for the portion that does the tourist information center out front there. So, yep. So that's all I have.
And when is the deadline for that application?
Noon on Friday.
Any other board or commission or committee reports anybody has? If not, we just have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Jerry's nay on record?
Yeah.
Awesome meeting.
Sounds like you're undefeated this season.
Planning session, I want to put on that